Hey guys and girls, Board now back with you on this video. I returned to Ozark, so this is going to be my review of Season 1, Episode 9. It's called Coffee Black. Full spoilers from the start of this review as always. So things are back on track as we get to back to the modern stuff, and this is much better stuff. I enjoy things really cranking up as we get towards the end of the first season. A lot of good stuff with Ruth and her family as that plot really comes into focus. The stuff with Petty, the FBI guy. Also in this one, the birds are sort of caught between a rock and a hard place because they're sort of trying to negotiate their way with two potential threats, because Jacob has found out about them, tipping off the preacher about what he was doing with, selling drugs as part of like the preacher's boat sort of thing, using his boat to sell drugs. So it means that he's now gonna make life difficult for Marty to do business, and he sort of leans on him more in this episode. At the same time, Dell has sent one of his henchmen down to sort of threaten the birds because, he wants this casino deal to be tied up and also wants to see more evidence of cash being like laundered and produced back to him. So at one point, Wendy's put in a very compromising position where this guy mysteriously pretends to be like interested in seeing like a house, like a property, and Wendy actually gets in like the van or the car with him, and he starts making threats to her. So over the course of the episode it becomes clear who he is. He starts hanging around the house and it becomes clear that he's there representing Dell. So because things have taken a turn for the birds and they're trying to negotiate the thing with Jacob and Darlene, then it sort of means they have to find alternative ways to make income, to launder money, new businesses. So Wendy helps with that. She is quite savvy in the episode as she basically like gets Sam to give her his business and to come work for her because he's fallen on hard time, and you've obviously had the death of his mother in like a previous episode. At the same time, Rachel has really had it with Marty and is pretty much on the outs, and I think she is one of my favourite like supporting characters up to now, Rachel. I think she's one of the few people you actually root for in this and sort of gets caught in the middle. So in this, Marty talks her into, giving him like the blue cat back and working together, but he makes her like some assurances in the process and sort of smooths things out a little bit. They come to an understanding at least. And one of the things in the episode which causes a lot of tension and maybe makes you a bit nervous for Rachel's safety is that as she agrees to this, she's then drawn more into the potential crossfire with, obviously you got Petty snipping around, but also Dell's guy. So Dell's guy, once he makes it clear who he is, he's there to take an eye on, put his eye on things for Dell and to make sure things are running how they want. And he's obviously like this intimidating sort of presence in the background. And at one point Rachel does get sort of drawn into it because Marty wants her to help out, and there's a point where because he needs to store all this money that he suddenly doesn't have a home for, so he talks her into like, can we stash it at your house until we get a chance to like move it on? And when Rachel starts asking questions and Dale's like Goon is around, he obviously is getting a bit trigger happy and is like thinking of maybe taking her out if she's asking too much questions, or if if she knows too much, because they're worried about people knowing too much. And Rachel is like smart enough just to say, you know, as long as it doesn't affect my business, I don't really have a problem here, and I know when to mind my own business. And Marty steps in for her and vouches for her with the guy. There is a nice little bond between those two. I do enjoy how there is some kind of mutual respect, and how he actually does go to bat for her in that scene. Because I think he recognises as well that they probably do need Rachel. I think that she is an asset to them, but yeah, things sort of come to a head with that. There's some good stuff with Rachel. I think as a character, she's starting to grow into this series, and we also see more of them as a family, like the Bird family working together in this episode, because the kids have to start, or they're talked by the parents into like helping to clean the money, but they've got this stash load of money they have to clean before they can like store it and stuff, and they get Charlotte and Jonah to help out. So it's a way to get their son and daughter more involved. The other big plot which comes to a head in the episode is the stuff with Russ, and he finds out who Petty is. He finds out he's an FBI guy, and that he's been using him to get information, and that, like, at one point Russ Petty turns the heat up on him and gets him to try and get a confession on tape from Ruth. Like, he wires him in hope that Ruth will give him information about what she's been doing with Marty, but that doesn't quite work out. And later on in the episode, Russ and Ruth come up with a plan to screw Marty over and just to escape, because they sort of know where his money is, and they plan on just taking it, but also kill Marty. And so things get again quite tense, and the stakes are raised when it looks like Ruth is going to go along with that. But obviously I think you can probably guess that Marty, as like one of the main characters, isn't going to die. So it leads to some quite powerful stuff where Ruth actually does turn things around on Russ and on like the other brother, and she actually kills them. She tricks them and uses like that whole connected bomb thing, which we'd seen in another episode. And she actually makes it clear to Marty later on, I did that for you. I never wanted to kill you. Or she says that to Russ at some point. And sort of a byproduct of this is that Petty's now lost his informant. And the episode actually ends with him like threatening Ruth in a really aggressive way, and he's got her down at one point in like the woods and has a gun pointed at her face, and in the end, to sort of save herself, she has to like convince him that she'll become like an informant for him. But it's really tense stuff, and there's obviously enough of a character now with Ruth where you sort of are at least invested in whether she's going to live or die, and you're sort of on the side of, I don't want her to die. And certainly Petty has become a really unsympathetic character in many ways. Another thing with Ruth is the whole thing with Wyatt, where she's really looked out for him, and I think that's one of the things that keeps you rooting for her, is that often she is trying to do the right thing by Wyatt, and she's often said, I don't want you to have this life. It's almost like she's taken on the burden for Wyatt, where she's like, maybe I don't have a lot of choices. I've sort of through circumstances and that I've been trapped in this way of life, and I kind of get a kick out of it, and I enjoy some of the perks, and it's given me more responsibility, but I don't want that for UI. I want something better, which is why she's obviously given him money for like college, or has encouraged him to like stick to his studies. But now we have this secret at the end of the episode, which is going to change things. So we see her comfort Wyatt, and Russ is obviously his father is now like mysteriously dead, and Wyatt doesn't know who did it. He suspects, I think, that Marty did it, but obviously at some point you've got to imagine the truth will come out and Ruth will tell him the truth, or someone else will. So stakes are definitely raised in this episode, and the drama and those couple of storylines really come to a head. That one with Ruth and Russ especially, and the picture has been changed again. So it's a good episode. It really brings some things to a head. So that's episode 9 of Ozark. I'll be back with more Ozark soon. Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Please like and subscribe. Share me on social media. You can also support me on Patreon at patreon.com/boardnow for more content. Thanks for listening. Goodbye.